Welcome to the Monday night edition of the Hobby Hotline. My name is John Newman, host of Sports Car Nation, Hobby Quick Hits, some hot tub show, who knows what else. We're joined by Stephan Loeffler. You know him from About the Cards, and none other than Doug Caskey from Mojo Break. I'm not on, guys, Monday that much, so this is I feel like the visiting team. I'm like in the visiting team's locker room, sort of like new digs, even though it's still my office here, but pretty cool. You know, I like that we're doing it on Mondays. It gives people double opportunity, maybe if the Saturdays are unavailable to them, and here we are on Mondays. Again, everyone out there watching, as you know, probably know by now, this is your show. You dictate basically where we're going to go with it. We'll set a couple topics or two, but then it's the ball's in your court, and we'll go from there. Doug, I don't get to be on with you or Dan that often, so I haven't had this conversation directly with you, and I wanted to get your take, sort of what Wax is doing this year. And I mean, it's almost everything. You know, in years past, you could say certain products are hot, but now it's really just anything that hits the shelf or gets released is just insane.
Yeah, I mean, I think it breaks down to supply and demand. And, you know, we had everybody at home during the Corona time, and then you just had the perfect storm of guys performing. You had Jason Dominguez coming out. You had Zion, obviously, John Morant in basketball. And then now, you know, fast forward, baseball's on, and you've got Luis Robert, and you've got Kyle Lewis, and you've got, you know, Fernando Tatis. So I think a lot of people had time to pay attention, and I think that contributes to the explosion. Not only the rookies, but people that are at home, they got some stimulus checks, and, you know, you're seeing Instagram breakers, you're seeing Facebook breakers. So not is it just the high-end stuff that's gone up for breakers, you have the low end going up because the Instagram breakers and the Facebook breakers can't buy from distributors. So then now you have a whole group of sub-distributors that are driving up those costs of those prices. And it's insane. And right now the demand outweighs the supply. I think at some point it will catch up. I think at some point, you know, you're already seeing it with Panini and you're already seeing it with Topps. They're going direct to consumer. But I don't think they'll ever go 100% direct to consumer, just because I think they'd rather sell to 7 distributors than sell to 20,000 people.
Yeah. It's funny. Quick story. I said this on my show, but, you know, not everyone will listen, so I'll kind of repeat it here. I went to Target a few weeks back, and, you know, there was a rumor, hey, they're restocking Optic basketball and you know, I didn't actually go for cards. I went there to grab something for the house. But if you're going to go, you're going to check that card aisle out for sure. Yep. And I went to it, and usually it's cleaned out. So I had no expectations of anything. I thought it'd be a quick 30-second visual, and okay, what am I here really for? Originally, and there was a display box of Optic, and it was in a lady. I put her in between the ages of 30 and 40, and you know, I was near her, and you know, we obviously have our masks on, and she says to me, "I know nothing about this stuff, buddy, but I know I probably can get 3 or 4 times what I'm going to pay for it at the register." And so it was like really the perfect example of, she had no clue other than she knew she was going to profit on it and knew it was something she could flip. And I know other people would probably get mad and say, "Oh man, she has no business buying that. She's not a real hobbyist. She don't care. She's only seeing dollar signs." I'm at the, you know, I try not to be a hypocrite in what I say. So I would have bought it too. So for me to say, you know, oh, shame on her, or she shouldn't do that, would be hypocrite. It's funny. She goes, "Do you want one? Like 1 box?" And I'm like, "Nah, you got here first. Go ahead." You know, for 1 box, I wasn't gonna, you know, steal the thunder, so to speak. So I said, "No, I appreciate you asking me, but to the victors go the spoils, so enjoy." And, you know, but well, I mean, she came right out, Doug and Steph, and really admitted, like, "Hey, I don't know who's in this, what it is. I just know I just made some money right here tonight."
I mean, it might as well be boxes with like $100 bill on the cover, or $200 bill in certain instances. What percentage of people that you guys see it on Twitter, you guys see it on Facebook, what percentage of those people that say that they would not clear out the shelf would actually do it? I feel like it's a cop out every time somebody says I would only take one box.
Yeah, I've always said, and maybe people don't like it, but I'm honest. Hey, listen, if I go in there and it's rare and it's not already cleaned out, I'm going to take it,
Right.
And, like you just said, Doug, I think a lot of people say, oh, I would take half, or I take you when you're in that moment, I think, like you said, it's easy to on a poll click, I wouldn't buy it all, but when you're there, you're buying it all. So at least I'm honest about it to say, yeah, I would, And
absolutely. I think that's what people need to do is that, hey, they're gonna clean it up. I mean, my targets on here, I have not seen anything besides like some Series 1 hockey and Pokemon. So either somebody's getting to it way before I get there, or it's just not being stocked. So.
Yeah, we could do a whole show on this with the distributors making backdoor deals or having their buddies show up or putting it on the shelves and then having someone buy it for them and splitting the profits. We've heard all the scenarios. Nothing, in the year 2020, the way this year's been, nothing shocks me no more. I'm a New York City guy, so nothing shocks me too much anyway, but nothing definitely shocks me the way this year's gone. And, you mentioned, with distributors and a lot of direct-to-consumer sales, that's the rumor that's going to be more the trend than an anomaly. And if you're Tops or Panini or even Upper Deck, you have to look at how this process works. And they're in business to make money themselves. And so, for what you guys do, you and Dan, like, is that something behind closed doors? You don't have to say everything you say, but is that something you're concerned with as far as what your business goes?
It's definitely concern. I think there will always be a need for somebody to break boxes, regardless if we're buying it at full retail pop or we're getting it from distributors. I think before you see direct to consumers. So the whole reason for the distributors is that they can buy up the bad product that Panini makes, like NASCAR. There's not a whole lot of, I'm not saying NASCAR product's bad. It's just maybe it's not as much in demand. So, but right now we probably have like 90% of their products sell out, right? So if anything, and I hope this doesn't happen, maybe they make more SKUs that have less desirability and they force those on distributors to make up for the hot products that they may be losing money on.
So what you're saying is make them buy a bunch of country music product and 2013 Topps Panini triple play.
Or the hockey product that has only 2 guys in it, that might just start going to distributors instead of being sold on Panini's website.
And this just in, Val took you off his Christmas card list. For making fun.
You see, backtracked a little bit. I was mindful of Val.
All right. He said you're getting one of the cheap dollar store cards. He told me. But you're still on the list.
Nice.
Yeah, this year's been crazy, man. I'm not going to lie. I just sold 4 blaster box of hoops for $170.
Jeez.
And that's what the market dictated. I didn't set the price. A matter of fact, I saw it even higher, and that's what someone offered. And I said, yeah, I got 4. How many you want? I'll take 4.
Well, crazy. Me and Dan talk about it this whole time. So this whole calendar, maybe even this last 2 years, you can actually say we could have actually broken 0 and sold it all to either blowout or other breakers. We would have actually made more money than we did breaking, but that's not our business model. Yeah. So you know what I mean? Our business model is getting those 30 people to buy in and being able to get their team and stuff like that. But we could have been literally hanging out on a beach and doubled or tripled the profit that we made in the cases that we sold to break. So it's just crazy.
And I think that's a testament to who you guys are and your customer base, and you see the big picture, and that's probably why you do as well as you do is decisions like that. So that's just very.
And don't lie, you already are hanging out on the beach.
I wish.
So, folks, again, you see on the bottom of the screen the URL to call in. I'm not on Mondays that often, so
it's even clickable.
There you go.
Nice.
So any questions, we while we're still rambling on, you see the hat I'm wearing. Today was a good night to be a New York Ranger fan. We don't have many good nights as Ranger fans. Tonight we got the number one pick and that's going to be most likely, unless the Rangers gaff this up, which I'm not ruling out. Alex Lafreniere. I'll have a lot of practice to get that name exactly perfected, but consensus sort of number on overall pick. I know he's been compared to Sid the Kid. That's a big tag to put on a young 18-year-old hockey player, but it's nice that he's been compared to him when you're going to be drafting him most likely. Just some of your thoughts, if you have any. I mean, I'm ecstatic. I was telling you guys before we went on the air. It came. I didn't. I'm not going to lie. I didn't watch it live. The lottery. It came across. I didn't really think we were going to get, the pick. So it came across my phone as an alert, and I had to wipe my eyes. Like, did I just see that right? And actually open the story up to officially believe it. But it's true. So I know Stephan is whispering rigged and rigged. At this point, we need all the help we can get. So if that's how it happens, I'm signing up for it.
No, I mean, I was watching it. I think there was a slight delay between when I saw it and when everyone else saw it. But for the most part, I mean, I'm not all bummed. I'm used to Minnesota flubbing it in the end or finding new and embarrassing ways to get eliminated from the playoffs. So to lose to a New York team, I'm not exactly surprised. However, going in, I knew that we'd have a top 10 draft pick, either first or ninth. And in addition, we just about a month ago signed one of our top prospects from the 2015 draft. Finally lured him over here from Russia. So if there's a consolation prize in getting a top 9 pick as well as a number 1 prospect signed, I'm not too bitter.
Yeah, and I think from the hobby side, I think Upper Deck's got to be doing a little fist pump about that, because you got a big market team. You're going to have and they've already locked them up to exclusive, so you won't see Panini having Lafreniere cards. So the hobby rejoices. Hobby shops, for that matter, that are Upper Deck approved, like ourselves here, are stoked, and we'll see. Maybe hockey cards will start to go up. I mean, right now we're doing a mixer with 10 boxes, and it's high-end, low-end, Series 1, and it's $46 a spot. If that was basketball, it'd be $299 a spot. So
yeah.
What you see with hockey collectors is it's more of a team collectability. There's less of the flippers involved. So we'll see how this plays out with this big money team or this big market team getting this, this can't miss supposedly guy.
Yeah.
Well, and between that, I mean, you also have the guys who are fans of the University of Minnesota or the University of North Dakota or, their local Canadian CHL team. So you have fans that are more than just, the top major rookie is John Morant. Okay, well, that's the only guy that I collect. Or they'll follow him around as he moves from team to team instead of there's actually – hate to say it, but there's more of a loyalty to the team than the player, I guess is the best way to say that.
Well, in the hockey break chat is a lot, friendlier. There's not like a lot of guys on edge that if they don't get the Pelicans or the Grizzlies in the chat, they're going to turn it off already. Like, oh, I got the Rockets. Oh, I'm going to turn it off. I'm not going to watch it. So hockey collectors seem to be, they want to collect their team. They just want to collect the hockey cards, and it's just a different atmosphere compared to some of the other sports when it comes to hockey collectors.
Yeah, like you said, Doug, I just hope, especially for you guys too, maybe it'll create some buzz. I'm sure Upper Deck is happy. I'm glad as a Ranger fan, Panini signed Kako, which was great, but then you got like these 2-pack score packs where you're guaranteed to get, pretty much a Kako. That's nice, but it's not nice because it takes kind of the drama and suspense, as how these things work. So there's a question, Doug, if you want to give out a promo free plug right there.
Sure.
Where it's really right after your name, truthfully.
Yeah, it's mojabreak.com. We do breaks 7 days a week. Everything's scheduled and everything's guaranteed to break. So tonight we're live, but everything's sold out. But we do have breaks on Wednesday. Well, we have breaks every day, but we're live again with breaks on Wednesday.
There you go.
You should be able to type that in chat.
I think I probably should be able to.
Yep. And you heard Doug. He's a straight shooter. He told you, they had an opportunity to sell and make even more profit, and they chose to appease their consumer base. I think that shows you where Mojo Break is at on the totem pole of breaking, and it's kudos to you guys, like I already said. But I know you wouldn't say that and not be true. So
well, it's also it's not fun to just ship a sealed case anyway. You don't get to open it. So
yeah, that's true. I hear you. I can't argue with that. As
regardless if the cards are mine or not,
So we today some of the big news today, college football looking like it's closing doors, each conference at a time. You got other teams claiming that they still want to play. Nebraska posturing to jump a conference just to play a schedule, and so I got a feeling this is gonna get political. We got baseball with series being canceled. It's still on the table that the season could go by the wayside if this thing gets off the rails. I mean, you mentioned coming in, Doug, some of the hot guys. Acuna had a big day today. Fernando Tatis, Aaron Judge are off to gigantic starts in what's going to be a short season if they finish it. I mean, we're in the bubble with the NBA. A guy has one great night and his cards go up 3 or 4 times, and everyone's flocking to ComC and Star Stock and Sport Lots to buy them before people can either pull them off there or raise their ass prices. And so it's become day trading. The way I see it's become day trading in the card market. People are looking at the box scores, watching the game live, and literally probably have their laptop or phone out and jump. Someone has a good first half, and it's like a race to grab those cards, especially if it's not a established superstar, someone like a Darius Baisley or even Devontae Graham, who's not playing but had a great year last year. But that sort of effect, and Baisley, we all saw the Bobo effect. I got my thoughts on him, but I've already made those clear. But it's become day trading in as far as on the singles market. It's just crazy. Kind of your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I actually just got hit up from a guy that I buy cards for. He has me buy singles for him, and he's like, I want a TJ Warren Silver Prism. So I think I paid $400 for a TJ Warren Prism for him, raw, which I believe they were probably $3 or $4 a couple weeks ago. So because we were in this this is my thoughts, because we were in this pandemic, everybody was frozen in time. There was no sports going on. I think we had such a need for it that now we're taking every game like it's almost like a 5 weeks worth. Right. Yeah. So, you guy has one good game. It's like, got to get it. Like, look at Michael Porter Jr. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was on Drew's show this week. Let me get that autograph. And he mentioned it to me. And, when we didn't have sports, when everything was shut down, nothing could go down because no one was struggling. And he asked me, no minor leagues. There's no minor league season this year. What effect is that going to have on guys that didn't make, Joe Adele just got called up, but guys that aren't playing or active, and I said it shouldn't have any. It's not their fault that they want to play, but if they don't, if their league's not, if we can't have, you can't have a major league roster with 120 players, and so it's not their fault that they can't be active, and so. I hope consumers and collectors and hobbyists don't punish them. I'll be honest with you, as someone who prospects, especially on the baseball level, if they do punish them and prices start to drop on certain guys just for the fact they can't play, if I'm a believer in that particular player, I'm gonna, as they say, buy on the dip if that's what happens. I don't expect it. I don't anticipate it. I don't think you can punish a player for when a league shuts down, especially it's not a work stoppage. It's not a labor walkout. It's not, hey, we want more money. This is, we got a pandemic and we can't run these leagues safely. And so, it's kind of crazy that some of these young guys, I know there's some instructional leagues. They're working out. They're doing some hitting and caging. They're not sitting home watching baseball like us. We are maybe a little bit, but not. They're also doing baseball things and weightlifting and training and whatnot. But they're not really getting to put stats to paper. And it's sort of a lost year. I kind of feel bad. I mean, kind of weird saying I feel bad for millionaires, but I do. The fact that they're not getting to hone their skill. And I said, well, kid's 18 years old, John. It's 1 year. Yeah, well, that's a loss. It's a lost year. He could have, played against competition and bettered himself. And you can't make that year up. You can't. That DeLorean and Michael J. Fox was just a movie. You can't go back and do that over. And so it's sad on that front, but I hope price-wise, people don't punish those guys. But, time will tell. And you hope baseball kind of gets to finish this year since they started it.
Well, sure. And I mean, I know that the teams are carrying more players than normal on a quote-unquote taxi squad that they can call to if someone gets injured or someone gets tested positive. So at least there's that, but not so much for the 18, 19-year-olds that were just drafted or signed out of the Dominican Republic or wherever. I feel more sad for the 27-year-old used to be starter, now turned reliever, who might have had a chance at a call-up in late September or October, August, September. But now they won't, because there's no minor league season for him to showcase his stuff. And I mean, it's interesting, even from that point, seeing the minor league teams coming up with promotions either for, hey, the season's canceled, 2020 champs, or my Twins is Pensacola Blue Wahoos having a not step hub, but where they rent out the stadium for a night. Just to either fill the seats or get some of that lost revenue back. It's interesting, the innovation and ideas that are coming around that maybe we see next year if things rebound.
Well, and I think from a hobby perspective, what you see, back to the point of people collecting prospects, where, you heard Casey Mize last year threw a no-hitter. Well, his cards started going up. He threw a no-hitter in the minors, right? So I think what you're getting is you have like kind of a pecking order when it comes to the sport. Like, let's just say, and I'm just throwing names out there, let's just say Tatis is the number one guy right now. Well, then there's Wander Franco, who's number two. And then there's Joe Adell, who's number three. And then you keep going where you can start usually finding guys in the minors. Well, there is no minors. So I think that's why you're seeing like Shane Bieber. Guys, we usually don't collect pitchers, but Shane Bieber's cards are going up because those guys that normally would spend on the Keone Cavaco or the guy that might be playing, they're now spending it on guys that are actually playing. So I think you're seeing that, which may be a good buying opportunity to buy hitters on big market teams that just aren't playing right now, that aren't named Jason Dominguez, that aren't named Bobby Witt, that are, like Seth Beer. I think Seth Beer's cards are like $20 for a first Bowman auto, right? He was a first rounder. So, it may be a good opportunity, but that pecking order of like Seth Beer hits 4 home runs and now his cards go up 5 times. That's just not happening these days.
Yeah. Like you said, you made a great point. A lot of times people buy on what happens at Triple and Double A. Last year, Mize is the perfect example of that. Now, he was already highly touted, but, when you throw a no-hitter, that makes all the waves. Even non-sports channels kind of will mention it, even in passing. And then, you get that buzz going and not having, there's 5 levels of minor league ball and not having one of them. That's a lot of play that you're not gonna have to have those kind of stories. And so, and if baseball, I mean, here let's throw it out there. I kind of mentioned it when I started talking about it. If you hope that's not the case, but if baseball and has to shut it down, let's say there's an outbreak and too many teams are affected, and what effect do you think that has on the hobby side of things?
It could be a couple different things. It could be a frozen in time situation again, Or, you could start seeing guys go from, start collecting football and maybe stop spending money on Tatis and go buy Joe Burrows because maybe the football season's going to be fine. Or they're going to go buy Gary Trent Jr. because basketball's, heating up. And so it'd be interesting to see. I mean, baseball still is the bread and butter of the hobby, but, let's hope it doesn't happen.
Well, and it's not like people are going to go around collecting Cornhole League cards.
Well, I posted on my Twitter. When I saw that, I thought it was kind of a gag post, and then I figured out it's not. If that thing comes out and is 10 times the suggested retail price, then I've seen a lot of stuff in this hobby. That one would take it to the next level. I mean, other than parents or family members, who's buying the cornhole cards?
Right.
Are you gonna break any of them?
No, and I don't know. I feel like maybe Topps, because they're owned by a portfolio company, that maybe sometimes they're coerced into doing this stuff, just like the XFL. I mean, they had to know that the AFL didn't work. Why make the XFL cards? But I feel like there's something that they're doing that makes them have to do that stuff. So maybe they're involved with somebody that's a partnership with Cornhole. So
I know a few years back they produced a set for BoJack Horseman. Now, if you look it up, that's also owned by the same Dearborn Madison / Tournant company. So yeah, surprise there. But I wonder how much that works out for the individual sport leagues, or they just think it's cost $100 to print, toss it in, there it is.
It's almost like, I usually get a Topps custom card each year for either whether it's Newman sports cards or now the podcast and stuff. It's almost like the cornhole guys did that, and Topps said, you know what, let's just mass produce this.
Pretty much.
This came out all right. Let's see if we can, almost like a joke. Let's see if we can sell these.
Yeah.
That's funny. And who knows what's next? I didn't expect the Cornhole League cards to make it to press, but here we are. And so, folks, guys, call in. Whatever topics, or you want to even talk about something we've already talked about. Give your take. Maybe something you didn't you agree with or agreed with, or a question you might have. Someone like Doug, who's got his finger on the pulse of the wax side, the sports side, and all that stuff. Let's go. Anything you guys, what's on your mind, Steph or Doug?
So I had a pretty decent National Baseball Card Day. We had 3 shops, a Target the night prior, and broke some cards with a friend. He tried a opening day box, the hobby version, and tried a single pack of Series 2. He didn't get anything special out of it. I pulled the Luis Robert card, so you could say that he lost, so to speak. Did a few boxes of Diamond Kings. Best thing I pulled between the Orlando Cepeda or the Ken Griffey, both dual relic, nice cards. And the Target, they had 4 complete Topps factory retail complete sets from 2018 Topps. So at retail price on eBay, they're selling for double. And one of them's the All-Star game where it sells for 2-3 times more.
Nice.
I couldn't turn that down.
So they broke out the vintage.
They did.
2018. That was hiding somewhere in the back room.
Well, and what's worse, so they also had 2 boxes of 2019, which is surprise. But the individual, actually, I have one here. Retail sets that they have, right? Where they have 16, 17 cards per team. They had easily 2016 New York Mets sets with Jacob deGrom on the front.
Yeah.
So if anybody needs that, it's in Arlington.
Nice. Well, I have a question. Maybe, people can contribute in the chat. Like, obviously I buy cards and I PC Barry Bonds and San Francisco Giants. I PC Niners, I PC Warriors, but I do buy and I dabble to collect and invest and flip, right? So last year I bought a bunch of Michael Porter Juniors, and everybody was ripping on me. Oh, he's injury prone, whatnot. So I bought a Mojo Prism number to 25 PSA 10, and I bought it for like $600. So obviously after a couple games, I was like, man, I think this might be the time. I put it up on eBay for $7,999 or best offer because there was already one up there at that price. So I said, I'll just match this guy and I'll field some offers. So I wound up selling it for $6,200, but I had that battle within myself, and I wanted to know if anybody that does this, do they set a parameter on what price to sell it at, or do they just go off a feeling? Because I'm thinking if I'm going to do this, I should have a number where I want it to be. Because I'm like, but now what if he is the real deal? Then this card could go up, and I'm sure you guys battle with yourself on selling stuff. Do you guys have any rules for yourself on that kind of thing?
So here's my rule, Doug. If I'm trying to kind of get off eBay, but I still have stuff on there. So I have a buy it now price with a maker offer. I always like to leave that door open rather than just leave it at buy it now. And so my kind of rule is, let's say I'll just use round numbers. Let's say that it's a card I have buy it now for $200, and then someone offers like $40. And you know how this goes.
Yeah.
It might be kind of mean or rude or whatever word you want to use. I won't even reject that offer. I just let it sort of expire, because I used to kind of reject and maybe type a comment like, "Are you nuts? Come on, man." And I'm like, I don't want to be rude back. So I just let the offer go. And then if they sort of get in the ballpark, then I might counter offer. As far as a certain percentage, I think you use the word sort of feel. I think it's, what you got into it. I think we've all sold a card. I probably could have held out for a little bit more, but I still made out pretty well comparatively to what I actually paid for it. And he gets a decent deal. He or she feels good about it. I'm not crying tears of poverty after the sale, and
sure,
both parties can kind of go away with a smile on their face. I mean, that's ultimately what you like to see, but if that's kind of if I have a rule, if the offer is just really ridiculous, I just will let it sit there. I won't even respond. I had I said that on my show once, and someone emailed me and said, that's kind of more rude, John, than if you responded like you're an idiot. I said, not to me. Responding you're an idiot is rude. I don't care whether they are or they aren't. Just calling someone that's not a very nice thing to do. So I'll just leave it sit there. And I got to be honest with you. I've let offers like that sit there, not respond, they expire. And that same bidder name winds up making a much higher offer where a sale gets actually transacted. And so by me not saying you're an idiot, get lost or take a hike, it's probably resulted in some sales. If I said that, that's the end of that. If that person was even thinking of bartering, I just closed the door on any possibility of that. So that's sort of my own kind of unwritten rules, if you will. I think you just got whatever you're comfortable moving the card with. I try to, any interactions verbally, any messages, I want to try to either keep them non-existent or positive. Rather than call someone out or say, "Are you crazy?" I don't even like doing the, "Hey, are you crazy? These things are going for $200. You're offering 40." The closest I ever get to that, Doug, is I've done this. If someone, let's say, offers $40 on a card that is just selling left and right for 200, I'll kind of I've done this in the past. I'll respond and say, "How many do you have? I'll give you $45 for every one."
Right.
It's a polite way of saying you're nuts without saying you're nuts.
Yeah.
So that's just me. I don't. I'll let Steph what his platform is with that kind of stuff.
Sure. So I haven't sold on eBay in quite a bit. I can't help the company discounts help me out, but for the most part, as long as something's in the ballpark, 60%, 75%, I take it. I mean, money over anxiety of, well, what will it end up bidded wise?
Right.
And even to that, I'd kind of be curious to hear the opposite opinion for that. Wherein, so this arrived today. Artist proof, number to 10 for my top guy for the Twins.
Nice.
And it's a great card, but at the same time that this action was going through, somebody posted the blue, I guess, cyan printing plate, and said that the starting bid was $8, best offer accepted, and listed it for like 3 days. So I sent him an offer like $10, $12, whatever. A little bit more, sure, but you never know. And the guy rejects my offer, blocks me, cancels the auction, and lists it just straight up 99 cents or for 7 days. So I look it up on, while I wasn't signed in, and it sold for $1.34.
Yep. Yeah.
Sometimes, guy.
Sometimes,
for $12.
Even in this hot time, there's like sometimes the first offer seems like your best offer. You know what I mean? It's like you hold out for more, and then it's too late. You don't get what you want. So.
Yeah, I think, it's everyone, I don't think there's any sort of, there's no 10 commandments here. I think you just kind of got to do what you think's best for you, what you got into it. You brought up a great example of that with the wax, Doug. I know I keep going back to that tonight, but sort of the same theme. You could have sold that for more, and you chose to go a different route. And you were comfortable enough in that decision to do it, knowing you left money on the table, but there was a reason you didn't leave money on the table for no reason, and that's a perfect example of kind of your own question too, even with a single card listed on eBay. And there's many times I've sold a card on eBay or another platform. And I'll actually get a message after that, like from a different person, like, "Hey, I missed it. Do you happen to have any more?" Or another
right.
one. And I've either made another sale or even sold a different card, maybe the same player. Like, "Hey, I didn't get that one. What else do you have of Tatis Jr.?" You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you make a secondary sale. And so that's the beauty of the hobby. And so My kind of rule is I just try not to burn any bridges and name call or I just won't respond. That's probably the closest I get to, This is a great question right here from Scott Hamby. He writes, "Do you guys grade cards and hold out on selling hot cards until they come back graded?" So I'm a huge grader. And so if you don't mind, I'll answer that question.
Sure.
I
Go ahead.
I do. I mean, and truthfully, let's be honest, by the time you get some of these cards back, you're in a sense holding out anyway, because when you're waiting 6 months for PSA, now SGC's even behind, Beckett's behind, all the big three, if you want to call them as they're known, are all behind the times now as far as return time. So you kind of wait in that effect. There's cards I've sent, Scott, to grade, and by the time I got them back, I probably wouldn't have graded them anymore. You know what I mean? The market's kind of changed. That guy maybe started to struggle, and so that card, the aspirations of that card, the billing didn't live up to the hype, and and as far as even when I get cards back, I've not sold them. I have a bunch of graded cards to my left right here in a case that are specifically not for sale right now. Kind of, I call them not for sale right now. No technical term for it. Right now, I mean, people might think I'm nuts, but I have a lot of Lewis Roberts stuff, and right now I'm just not selling it. To me, it's too early. I know they're doing well price wise, but I think there's more ceiling there. This guy just started. He's been compared. I'm not saying he's going to be Mike Trout, but when you're compared to Mike Trout, that's something the scouts don't put that label on a lot of players. And even if he's a level below Mike Trout, that's quite a player level. And so for me, I'm just kind of holding out. Now, God forbid, I don't root against you. he could get injured, and it could be a career affecting one, and that's the chance you take when you don't sell your cards at certain moments. But that's the fun of it in a way. That's the gamble, that's the gambling side of the hobby. So I grade a ton. Some I list for sale as soon as I get them back. I scan them in, and boom, they're on the market. And then there's others that I just put in a case, knowing that they're not available at this time. I won't even really show them. Like, I won't even brag about them, just to avoid that temptation of someone saying, "Hey, man, what you take this for that," and just wait till I feel is the right time. Doug, I know you deal in graded cards. Do you submit yourself?
If I'm gonna sell, and that was gonna be my point here, is if I'm gonna sell a high dollar card, like a card that's over $500, I'd like to sell it graded, specifically on eBay, because you're gonna field all these questions about, is it a PSA 10? How do the corners look? What would you say it would grade? And I'm not a grader. I don't know what it's gonna look like. So you kind of leave yourself open for, say this card, I'm gonna submit it at some point. I'm going to submit this, and whatever. That way, if it's a 9 or a 10, somebody can't say, "Well, I got it and the corner's dinged, I'm going to send it back," right? Because maybe they have A, buyer's remorse, or B, they tried to do a raw card review on it, and now their raw card review was less than they thought it was. So a lot of times I like to only sell graded cards, and I'll wait and grade them before I sell them, unless they're cheaper cards.
And let's be real, Doug. I know it's the part of the hobby no one likes to talk about, but we know that this happens. People ding a card on purpose just to reverse the transaction. I think, and I could do a whole show on the 180-day return policy. I don't agree with. I mean, it doesn't take 6 months to determine I'm keeping or not keeping this card. And I think that's, like I said, I could go off on a 20-minute rant. We can get out of here. I'm not going to, but just too long. And there's, you gotta talk about it. There's an unscrupulous part of the hobby that will damage a card intentionally to get their money back because they can go under the item not as described category. And it's criminal as far as I'm concerned.
Fraudulent.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking a card that's not damaged and then knowingly damage it and then getting your money back. It's like going into a store and kicking in a TV glass and then just walking out, and now you can't sell that, and you didn't pay for it. So it's on that level. I just wish, and it's not just eBay. I know I'm kind of picking on them right here, but anyone has a 6-month policy on a return. Like, I buy electronics. I buy a TV. They barely get a 6-month, and that's electronics. I mean, if anything, a fridge, you should have that warranty. A baseball card, whether it's chrome or cardboard, doesn't take 6 months to determine that.
People are trying to buy and flip, and when they learn they can't flip, then they have
it's an easy out. It's an easy out. There's no risk on their part. The risk would be all on the seller. And I think I'm always about the consumer is important, and the customer. I know the saying is the customer's always right. We could dabble on that, but you like to be fair to the customer because you want to keep them. But
I'm glad you brought that up because I don't know if you guys have noticed, and I haven't used them, but I've thought about using them. Where you get a card and it has the tamper-proof seal on it. Yeah. Does that hold up in a claim? So if the person sends it back and it doesn't have the tamper-proof seal, then obviously they took it out of your original case before they sent it back.
So here's mine. I'm on the same page.
There you go. Yeah.
I'll use them on high dollar cards, but I think, Doug, at this point, eBay is so pro-consumer and almost anti-seller. I don't think, all a buyer probably has to say there is, I had to take it out to get a better look. I couldn't see it through the top loader and the soft sleeve. So there's always, I'm trying to think. I've been very fortunate, knock on wood. I haven't had very few chargebacks, if at all. I mean, I can count them on one hand in all the years I've done selling. So I've been fortunate. I had one where it was that kind of deal. He took it out of the tamper-proof seal, and that's where I got my case to eBay was, hey, I put a seal on that. He broke the seal, and his response, and you can read the responses in the emails was, I couldn't see the card clearly. I had to get it out of the case.
Right.
And they sided with him. Now, he didn't damage the card, I don't feel. I just think he had buyer's remorse and wanted his money back. So I got the card, probably most likely in the condition I sent it, and but he just had buyer's remorse and wanted the transaction reversed, and so he got his money back. I got the card back. I don't even tell you the truth. It was a couple years ago. I don't even remember what the card was, but you break up another good point, Doug, is there's certain cards to me I don't even really want to touch them not graded. I mean, the Trout update definitely comes to the forefront. There's a lot of fakes of those, and I tell you what, some of them it's criminal. I don't want to praise them, but some of these guys that are counterfeiting are really honing their skill. And some of these fakes are harder to tell. Even with the Jordan rookies, another card, obviously, that it's hard to touch raw. There's transactions I make.
Even hard to touch graded because people are faking PSA slabs too. So
yeah.
I had a Jordan I had to return because they basically took a number off another PSA. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you're buying out there. Do your research on the seller. They can actually find a PSA 9. Let's just use PSA 8 or PSA 9. They can find one that's sold. They can take the number off of it and put it and make a slab out of it. And then when you do a PSA check, it looks like it's legit when there's actually two of the same card out there and one's a reprint. So it's just so even that, don't believe PSA numbers, especially if you see the old PSA slabs, because they don't use the hologram. If they don't use the hologram, that's the one big tell. So I know a lot of the big Jordan guys were resubmitting to get the new hologram on their slabs.
We had an issue at work with that, wherein a person bought a Jordan rookie in slab with hologram and returned it back, and it was clearly printed on a printer from 2020. And it's a fraudulent case. I think they're still researching how to handle it internally. Obviously, they're blocked from bidding on any of our auctions going forward. And I know that they're looking at either pressing charges or something, because that's huge. I mean, what's one go for right now? Say PSA 9. You're looking at least 5 digits, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep. So to have one come back looking like a sticker. Yeah. No offense, dude. Yeah.
So they basically bought one from them and then returned it with a fake one.
Same slab, matched number to number, but it very clearly not the same card.
Wow.
It's when I've always said this, and you guys I know agree with me. When it comes to money, people, there's no limit to what someone's willing to do to make it. Some people pride themselves in doing it the right way and above board, and others don't have that filter, and they're willing to break rules and do unscrupulous things. It's unfortunate. You bring up a great point. I knew about that, Doug, but until you hear it again, you forget about those things go on. And like Steph said, he's seen it firsthand himself. We have another question. I'm going to put it on the screen. It's a good one from El Gringo. I like the name. Who do I need to buy football-wise this year, like an underdog in the 2020 draft? And that's obviously, we're going to assume we're going to have football. Let's go under that assumption. You obviously got your quarterbacks, your Tuas, your Burrows, your Herberts. I don't consider them underdogs. They're pretty highly touted. So I look at a lot of the receivers that were drafted in this year's draft. Your what's up with my guys like Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. I know their receivers aren't always the sexiest cards, but I think it's a heavy receiver draft. I think a lot of these receivers are going to make an impact. I love Joe Burrow, but I think he's going to have to pay some dues there in Cincinnati. It's not the greatest organization to play for. He does have some weapons in Mixon and Tyler Boyd. They got some defensive problems, but that's for an NFL show to sort out. So I don't know if he's going to have a crazy great year, at least on the stats board. But so I go right back. I don't think there's a lot of great running backs in my estimation as a football guy. I look at the receivers. I think there's a lot of, even some of the guys out of the smaller schools have a chance to really put up some numbers potentially. And those guys that are coming out of those Division II schools, their cards, at least initially, are not going to be very high. And so it'll be an opportunity maybe to buy them now and hope they hit. So that's my take, and I'll shut up and let you guys weigh in.
I tend to like Jacob Eason for the Colts, fourth round draft pick. He's behind Phillip Rivers, who can't play forever. He's 6'6". The Colts are investing money in not only their defense, but in their offense. They got DeForest Buckner from the Niners. Whether or not he plays or not, we'll see. But I think the guy, Phillip Rivers has a couple years, and then this guy jumps in. He's a pro-style quarterback, and his cards are cheap enough right now. It's definitely worthy of a little bit of a gamble, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm a Steelers guy. They were rumored to sort of be in on him later. Didn't work out. They wound up not even taking a quarterback, and I don't think they have the answer for who's after Roethlisberger yet. So hopefully they figure that out.
Probably not Mason Rudolph, right?
I'm not a Mason Rudolph guy. I like him. I think he's a nice kid, but I don't think he's the heir apparent like a lot of people initially thought. I think last year kind of weeded that out. And, when a Division III guy kind of takes your job and actually looks pretty good doing it, and Duck Hodges, I think the writing's sort of on the wall there. And so I think they're in the market still for whoever that next guy is going to be. As a Steeler fan, as you see my helmet here, I'm hoping Roethlisberger's got one or two at least good years left to do something. But with Mahomes in the AFC now, that's starting to look like it could be one of those dynasty type deals. Kind of comparably, sort of like a Brady, where he's either in the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl almost every year. So we'll see.
So I got a slightly bigger, deeper pick.
All right, let's hear it.
From Baylor here, Denzel Mims, drafted second round to the Jets, late pick. Played track, played basketball, like 6'3", wide receiver, kind of speedy.
Yep.
And fell. It just happened to fall in the draft for some reason. As well, I hope that the streak and the curse is over, that Green Bay doesn't have the third generational quarterback in a row, that Jordan Love falls apart, and go Vikings.
Yeah, that was a bold move. Yeah, I think you touched on it too with Mims there, Steph. I think this is going to be a sneaky receiver type draft with some of these receivers. Perfect examples is Mims, from not a Power 5, if you will, not the Ohio State type of guy that can do some big things. And their cards right now, although if anyone's listening to this, they might be flocking to ComC and buying them, but still, they're still going to be affordable when you compare them even to like a CeeDee Lamb or someone on that level, where people are more sold on a polished guy or what they feel is a polished guy. And so, the quarterbacks you're always going to have those 2 or 3 every draft. They don't always hit, as we all well know, but at least initially, until play actually starts, they're the hype ones. It's going to be Burrow, Tua, and Herbert. And I like Burrow out of the 3, but they all could. Tua's just got the injury question over his head. I think that's his big issue. And, I think all 3 could be, potential Pro Bowl quarterbacks. But we've said that about a lot of guys, and it doesn't always work out. The NFL and college are 2 different beasts. And, we'll see. But that's the fun. I love football, and that's half the fun, is seeing who pans out and what your teams do and how do they draft, and if you want your GM on the street corner, packing his office up. And so we'll see. But I'm going to go. It's a wide receiver. To me, it's a wide receiver draft. There's no. I don't know, but running back is just no one really stands out to me in particular, and so.
Yeah, and I like the Mims pick because I am actually a Sam Darnold believer still. I think that he's had obviously last year with the mono, and then I don't know if Adam Gase is the answer. It seems like it's kind of a mess with him. Unbelievably, they only have one other first round pick on their team. It's Sam Darnold and the guy they drafted this year. So for the last 10 years, they have no other first round picks. They've all been traded or shipped off somewhere or not signed. So I think maybe him and Mims could connect and could have a good year.
Yeah, Adam Gase is terrible. I'm not a Jets guy, but I'm here in New York. I don't know what they were doing with that hire. That had Hindenburg written all over it. You got players throwing them under the bus publicly. Jamal Adams worked his way out of town by basically throwing Gase under the bus. I would have seen if I could have traded Gase to Seattle instead of Adams and got rid of Gate, but that's a train wreck. There is some talent there. I kind of side with you, Doug. I think it's too soon to pull exit off the Darnold buzz. I don't think he's had the ideal situations. Gase is not a great coach to play under. I don't think they've done him any favors with who they've gotten in there to surround him with, and so time's going to tell. I think. One of their first steps is probably to get a real coach in there that players, respect. When you got players in the press, like not even anonymously, they're putting their name to it, saying this guy, no one respects him. Well, basically, we don't like this guy, and I want out of here.
Well, the Gase taco video with the eyes is probably one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. That is the greatest thing ever.
Like, if that's what, if you're a head coach in the NFL and that's kind of what the first thing that comes to people's mind, that's usually not a good sign. I mean, even Dick Vermeil, his thing was he was a crier. So everyone, he loves to cry. The guy won a Super Bowl ring. He can cry all he wants. He can cry all he wants to, right? So, Gase hasn't done nothing. I think he's one of them guys, Doug and Steph. He's one of them guys. Some guys are just better coordinators. North Turner fits that description. Get it done as a coordinator, one of the best in their position in the league. But then when they take a head coaching job, they can't command that room. It doesn't work. And so I think Gase is kind of after this Jets gig is up, and I think that's going to be sooner than later. He'll be still in the league, but I think his head coaching days are going to be in the rearview mirror. He's going to be a coordinator, and that's probably the best bet for him.
Well, anybody could be a quarterback whisperer when you work with Peyton Manning, right? I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So
to that for a different sport. I mean, they say some of the best all-time hitters have tried to manage and done miserable. I mean, look at Ted Williams for Texas here. One of the all-time greatest hitters couldn't manage worth of shit.
Yeah, the best managers are middle-of-the-road catchers.
Yep.
Bruce Bochy, Joe Girardi. I know I'm forgetting somebody, and I don't know why that is. I guess maybe because they can handle a pitching staff, and that's in a sense half your battle. If you can handle that rotation and relievers, that's half the side of the field. And then you get a good hitting coach that helps you out on the other end of things, and you're successful. And I think, it's funny. You look at Joe Girardi and the Bruce Bochys and John Watson back in the day with the Royals, and Bob Boone.
Then you have Yogi Berra.
Yeah, not everyone hits, but I think there's something to that. I don't think that's by coincidence. I think there where there's smoke, there's fire. So, Brad, it's on the bottom of the screen. You might have to put on your glasses and slow it down, but there it is. So, but yeah, I mean it's been a crazy year in the hobby. I know I've said it. When the pandemic first hit and things were starting to shut down. As someone who does sell cards, I was really bracing for impact, as they say. I wasn't expecting, business to be as good as it has. And it's just been, I had a store for 4 years back in the 90s, and 2020 is already on pace to break any non-store amount that I've made in 1 year. And if you would have told me that 3-4 months ago, guys, I would have lost my house on that, Ben. Said, I hope you're right, but you're nuts, Right. And here we are. I mean, how I know you've talked about this before. I mean, it has affected breaking, but things are still tremendous, right?
Yeah, I mean, we can't do enough breaks to fulfill the demand that we have, and it's I'm with you. And March 18th, I think, was when we got the news in our county that everything was shutting down. And that's when the whole thing became a reality. And I was like, the last thing people are going to do is buy sports cards. People are going to be counting their pennies, saving their pennies, making sure they have it for their family. The last thing I thought was this industry was going to explode even further than it is. But I mean, I think it's the accessibility compared to the junk wax era. You have the internet. You have, like, we're talking to each other right now. I'm able to do a break with 100 people watching. That, and people have time. People were getting stimuluses. People have the time to keep it going. And one of the great things about this whole time that we're in is that this side of the industry, every time I go do this, I'm not thinking about the world problems. I'm focused in on the hobby. I'm chatting with you guys. I'm having a good time. So for me, it really hasn't changed my life a whole lot. If anything, it's just distracted me from all the negativity that's going on in the world. And I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll make it real brief because Brad's joined the show. I've interviewed about half of the Topps 2020 project artists. And I obviously Topps didn't intentionally schedule that. They had no idea. But the timing of that project kind of leads to the success of that project. And, all the artists have kind of agreed and said the same thing. So I'll kind of, piggybacking off what you said, Doug, I think it is an outlet to kind of take our minds off the current events at hand. And there's, the hobby's kind of benefited from that situation, if you will. Welcome, Brad. We're up against an hour, so I don't know how long we're going to stay on. So state your case and forever hold your peace.
Well, first off, thank you, John. I need to call you. I really need to. And Steph, we need to go hang out. And Doug, nice to see you.
Good to see you as well.
I was helping Herman do his break, so we just finished. So I wanted to jump on and man, you need to get rid of that Rangers hat and put a Texas Rangers hat on. Is what you
I don't hate Texas. I'm a Mets guy, but the Rangers are in the American League, and so I don't believe in like second favorite teams. But I got to be honest with you. I've always I was a huge. Guys may not even ever heard of this guy. Maybe you have. Back in the day, one of my favorite players was Buddy Bell.
Man, Buddy Bell. Yeah, and third baseman for the Texas Rangers.
With the Indians and then went to the Rangers. I was a huge – I don't know why. It was just one of them weird things. I just gravitated towards him in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, and I was just a big Buddy Bell guy. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I don't remember.
I know that we're up against the clock. I really just wanted to call in and say, hey – man, John, it's great to see you. Steph, it's great to see you. Doug, it's great to see you.
Good to see you as well.
I had to try to catch in. I since I've started listening, I haven't missed an episode. I was not going to miss an episode tonight, and especially with you, John,
it's
being
like
on.
The Cal Ripken streak.
Exactly. I can't miss. I can't miss.
It's over. You got to start over again.
What was that?
I was going to say,
I thought he dropped the mic right there. I'm like, all right, I didn't miss him out. See ya.
One last point: your Rangers are going to be part of a Joe Adell meme for the life of Joe Adell. So if Joe Adell, if Joe Adell becomes some superstar like he's supposed to be, he goes 4 for 4. Somebody on Twitter's dropping that meme of the ball going over off of his.
Oh my God! I mean, if there was ever any bad luck, it would be the Rangers. I mean, think about it. Nelly Cruz, ball on top of the head.
Yep.
1 out away from winning a World Series, and we got that going on. I mean,
I was rooting for him. How that happened, I still don't know how that. that
I
happened.
mean, we are the second greatest losers, other than Globo Jim. I mean, come on.
That's funny.
For sure.
But
Well,
hey,
you got a new
again,
stadium. It's not all bad. You got a new stadium.
yeah, but we can't go see it. That's the problem.
Yeah,
We
that's
can't go
true.
see it.
Well, if
I
you're
didn't know
cutout,
we needed another Lowe's
go
here.
dressed as a cutout guy and sneak in.
There you go. There you go. Maybe I could be like Dr. Fiducci and get in and be a cutout. You know,
Dr. Fiducci, who's that? It sounds like an Italian chef.
it's the Dr.
Fiduci.
Fiduci, man. It's the Fiduci. He protects us from the diseases. You know, he protects us from the diseases.
Just don't ask him to pitch. You might
Yeah,
he might be able to help you get a little better, but just don't ask him to throw a first pitch.
He might give you a little something to get you a little something better and to get you something to go moving forward. You know what I'm saying?
We can tell you're not Italian. That's a dead giveaway.
That's why I'm Texas car dude. It's not Italian car dude. It's Texas car dude. But no, I wanted to hop on. I just appreciate everything. John, I hope I can call you later this week. Steph, we're going to go hang out. Sure. Doug, I hope at some point in time.
Whatever happens, I got to get a beer out of this deal. That's all I know.
What? You got to get a beer out of this?
or beers, plural. So
nice.
Man, you're having a good time.
Yeah.
It's a one-man party right there.
Dude, number five, man. Number five. Beer 5 is alive. Beer 5 is alive.
I can't. I gotta say, I like my rum or whiskey. I can drink beer, but I'm getting to be a lightweight in my old age. I get to 2 or 3, and I hit the wall.
No, and if you're talking that, then give me a little Captain Morgan Sprite.
Yeah,
I like Sailor Jerry's Sprite. Little. There you go. Cards and Coronas. See, Ziggy knows. There you go.
It became a drinking with Brad and John show, and everyone else so.
Maybe I need to start drinking on Saturday mornings. It'd make it more interesting.
Listen, just change your clock. No one knows the better, right?
There you go. It's 5 o'clock somewhere at that time.
Yeah. Jimmy Buffett.
I hear you. All right, I'm out. I appreciate everybody. Thank you very much, and I'll call you later, John.
All right. Thanks, Brad. We'll see you. Be good. No more beer. You're cut off. The beer man's not coming to your room anymore. He's been told. So, but a great show for just having Brad kind of call in at the end. We kind of covered a lot of the current events. We had some great questions in the chat room itself. I don't know. I guess people were shy tonight. You're not going to be any uglier than me, so I don't know what the big fear was, but it is what it is. I guess we're at an hour and 8 minutes. Any kind of closing thoughts from the panel here?
That's it. It was a fun show. The hour went by quick, so
yeah, it did. Brad usually gets more time, but we had to cut him off a beer and then cut him off on airtime too. So.
Right.
But I'll just say in closing, everybody, be safe, be well, do the right thing, enjoy the hobby, do it the right way. Kind of cliche, but rings true, at least in my mind. And we appreciate everyone who gives their time and listens, whether it's this show live or any of the podcasts. Obviously, that we do. You could do a lot of other things with that time, and you choose to give some of it to us. And I know I speak for all three of us here that doesn't go unnoticed, and we appreciate it.
For sure.
All right, folks. Again, be safe. We'll see you next time. We'll see you next Saturday. I'm not sure who it is. I should do better prep, but it'll be 3 or 4 guys and a host of other characters. We'll see you Saturday, and then again, we'll see you next Monday as well. What's up? That wasn't. I mean, we didn't have anyone really call in other than Brad at the end. I thought it was All right, we made the best of it. We had good questions in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, as long as there are actual questions coming in, I don't feel too bad. I mean, yeah, sure, Brad, and if Rich were still at the office, he probably would have called in too.
Yeah, he was in the chat room. I saw that.
He was. I did
Yeah.
as well. But no, I mean, as long as questions are coming in, I don't feel too bad about a Monday show.
No,
Especially
and I think,
Pacific when they're just getting off work and heading home.
Yeah, it is.
I'd prefer them not calling in.
Yeah, and I think you get 3 guys. It was easy for me.